everyone, it's Vicki and Annette from Minerva, and we're back again this week to talk all things sewing bee. So last night's episode 4, was Reduce, Reuse, Recycle Week. I always struggle saying that. It's like a tongue twister, isn't it? So yeah, a very different week, I think. But before we get stuck into the details, Mum, tell us what you're wearing today.
Well, this pattern is the pixie dress from Style Arc.
Yep. We're both fans of Style Arc patterns, aren't we?
And the pattern is...
the fabric is graphic floral.
Sorry, the fabric.
Yeah.
I do get mixed up with a couple of them.
Well, we have so many print names in the Minerva exclusive collection now that I don't think any of us remember absolutely every single one of them now, do we?
I should remember this though, having made it.
Yeah.
But this is one of my favourites that I take on holiday.
Yeah, it's lovely. I love the little like ruffle detail on the sleeves.
Yeah.
Really pretty.
And it's my end of holiday dress.
Right, okay. Might have put a few pounds on then.
Exactly. And it's lovely and loose.
Yeah.
And I love it for
that.
that.
And the viscose challis fabric, it's lovely and breathable, isn't it?
Breathable.
It's perfect for holidays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, this is the choker notch fringe dress, which... as you know, viewers might know, I had a baby a few months ago now, and a lot of my clothes that did fit aren't yet fitting again now. So I'm just kind of experimenting a little bit with different styles at the moment, aren't I? And this is, I can't actually claim to have made this one. This is one that we made in a sew along. We have it on the hangers here at Minerva today, and I thought I'm gonna wear that one today. Yes. And it actually fits me really well.
Yeah.
This has been a pattern though that I do have at home. It's been on my sew list forever, and now I know I can wear it, you know, at a bit bigger of a size, and I feel good and comfortable in it. Yeah. I'm definitely going to make it now.
I love the ties on it as well.
Yes,
because if it then goes a little bit big, and because it's a drop, a grown-on sleeve, I should say, with a band on the end. That's not going to look too big. Yeah. And this means you can just draw it in a little as bit. You need it.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I've got still a bit of a tummy at the moment. I can just wear it looser now, and then like you say, just draw it in a bit. Yeah. When that goes a little bit, And the fabric, so again, this is our viscose challis fabric, Minerva exclusive collection, and it's the jungle floral print, which I don't know if you saw, but I think it was like maybe a couple of months ago now. This was actually on the front of a magazine cover, this fabric. That was. Was
it that dress? Or
no, not this dress, but this fabric. That was a really nice moment here at Minerva to see the fabric on the front cover. Yeah. So let's get stuck into it then.
Yeah.
So then, the first challenge last night, the pattern challenge. So the contestants had to make a bag, but it was definitely a bag with a difference, wasn't it?
It was.
So they talked about this trend that's been all over social media, apparently. But I must admit, that trend had passed me by.
It would pass me by as well.
I wonder if it's more of like a TikTok trend than maybe like an Instagram one. And maybe it was more last year when they were filming.
Could have been,
But that actual technique is something I did about 20 years ago when I was at university, believe it or not. Well, not quite 20, but not far off.
Not far off.
No. And what they were doing last night is they basically sewed like a bag out of layers of organza, didn't they? With an opening, and then put the scraps inside and then quilted that, didn't they? Yeah. Now, I used to do it a little bit differently to that, where we didn't sort of create the bag to put the scraps in. We basically trapped the scraps between layers of fabric, stitched all over it, and we did free machine embroidery back then to stitch all over it rather than quilting. But
I remember the noise that used to come out of your bedroom because you had an industrial machine.
I did back then.
Zoom. We couldn't hear the TV or anything.
Either quilting or free machine embroidery does the same thing, really. And then you would, so you would basically have a piece of fabric that you would then cut your pattern piece out of. Yeah. So it's just two different ways of getting to a very similar end goal,
I seem to remember you doing it with threads as well.
Yeah, trapping threads in. Yeah.
Because at the time, I used to do an awful lot of cross stitch.
Yeah.
and you had me saving all my cut-off threads.
Yeah.
And because I did that much, over a period of time, I had this mountain of threads.
It's brilliant.
And you made this superb sample, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I did it quite a bit through uni, didn't I? Through like the 3 years. I did a textile course. It was an embroidery degree, wasn't it, at university? It wasn't, which is why I was doing all this type of work.
I think I still have them somewhere, all them samples.
Yeah,
I can't part with them.
So yeah, it's nothing new, is it? But I think the whole, obviously, you know, the want to be sustainable in life and reuse what we have and not send things to landfill is obviously something that's just becoming more and more important and popular, of course. So I think that's probably why it's had like a resurgence, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what I really like about the idea, I mean, you want to try it after seeing last night.
Yeah, I loved it last night.
Yeah.
I was really, really intrigued by it all.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And I think what I really like about it is I think every individual sewer, you know, if we look at our fabric stash, or more importantly, we look at the scraps that are left over from the things we've made, everybody has their own like eye for what they like in fabric, their own colour palette, and then when you get the scraps, it's so unique to you. Like I imagine you, Mum, would have lots of neutrals and beiges, browns, burnt oranges, reds, all those sort of colours, wouldn't you? Yeah, I'd probably have loads of teals, a hint of pink maybe in there, brighter probably colours. Yeah. So our bags, you know, they're just like a representation of your style,
of you yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I love that idea about it. So in terms of what the contestants made then, so who did you have a favourite?
Yes, forgive me for looking at my notes, but I loved George's. Yep.
Yes.
Mostly greys.
Yes.
That little splash of orange.
Yeah, I think George's got a really good eye for colour.
Yes, I do. I think she sold it really well.
Yep.
Which I didn't think got much of a mention.
Yeah.
But I think we do find this with the sewing bee, don't we?
Yeah, I read somewhere, I think it might have been like on a sewing bee group somewhere, that they said that when it's actually being filmed, the judging process per contestant can take like 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But obviously when they edit that down, it's, you know, like a minute, is it? Per person, if that. So we're only, you know, they're going to edit it to, you know, they can only show a tiny bit of what they said, I suppose.
Absolutely. I did love Pasha's, the one that won it, with the hearts.
Yeah, that was, because nobody else did that.
No,
did they?
And I did think, when she said, and I'm, you know, put these hearts in, I did think, oh, is she allowed to do that? Because I thought, is that a scrap? But it's been a purposely cut.
Yeah, it's a purposely cut scrap.
But I suppose it was all purposely cut.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter, I suppose, how you use that scrap, does it? As long as you like using all the bits, then
what else did I like? I liked Don's. The sewing wasn't too good because he hadn't enough time.
Yeah, he put his zipping wrong, didn't he?
Yeah. But when he was cutting his pieces out, I thought, oh, they're quite big pieces. He did some...
Yeah, like quite chunky.
Yeah. But when it was sewn up, I thought it looked fab.
Yeah. Well, I quite liked Marcus's. If you remember, his had the yellow stripes in it.
Oh, yes.
I know they weren't too keen, but I quite liked it.
I did,
I did agree that I think he should have put more scrap in there. Because it was a bit threadbare at times, but that's easier said on hindsight, isn't it? I also thought Ilsa's was a really lovely combination of fabrics. She had like
Ilsa do?
She had like some stripy fabric in there, and then it was just like the combination. It was quite like a pared back colour palette, but I thought it was really cool and actually very like quite wearable.
Yep. When I was watching that last night, it just reminded me of a map.
Oh, right, okay.
And in as much that I watched it again this morning, and when I got to that bit, I thought, I wonder if I see a map again. And I did. So if anybody watches it again, it was like the blue bits in the flat bit look like the sea.
Right.
But
I'll have to watch it again.
Probably nobody else will see it.
That's the beauty of it, though, isn't it?
It is.
But yeah, we are going to put spoilers in this video, so fair warning, if you haven't watched it yet, go away and watch it and come back to us. But yeah, I thought Pasha, well, she was the winner, wasn't she?
Yeah,
I thought she was a
hearts.
deserved winner, yeah.
Yeah, she was.
And the very close second, Ilse, and I thought that was fair.
Yeah,
I did also as well, Alex's with the stripes that she did.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice touch.
What did you think of Susie's with the tape measure?
Personally, I don't know if it worked.
I think if she'd have done that all over...
Yes, yeah.
It would have worked.
Yeah.
But then I think... Esme would have possibly have found fault with that, but it was too much of one thing.
Yeah, I think...
Even though there were lots of colour in it.
Yeah, and do you remember when she said, like, oh, because it was a printed fabric that was only on one side, she had to position them all, and that took her ages, didn't it? So yeah, I think if she chose a different fabric, or maybe just done it all like she did the bottom bit, without the tape measure fabric, possibly would have worked better for her. But she was getting upset, weren't she? It wasn't her day.
No, it wasn't.
That first challenge, was it? Yeah.
And I think there's something can be said for literally throwing a lot in, giving it a good shape, pressing them all out, and see what happens.
And letting it be truly random. Yeah, I think I like that about it.
Yeah, and I think that's why I like Pasha's, because that was random with the fabric she chose. Yeah, but then did some placement.
Yeah. I quite liked how they all had a chain handle. Yeah. I thought that was something a little bit different. I mean, they do kind of annoy me, chain handles, a little bit, but I do think they looked nice. Yeah. And they all used the little magnetic clasps, didn't they? Which we do sell here at Minerva.
Yeah, they're brilliant.
When you've got more than like 10 seconds to apply one.
Was it Alex that sewed it on? No, not Alex. Was it Georgie? Sewed it on with one thread. And I thought, oh, what a shame. What a shame.
She just needed like 30 more seconds, didn't she? Yeah. So, if you want to make your...
I loved, Luke's luggage tag.
Oh, yeah, that was brilliant, wasn't it?
That was fab. Yeah. Is there anybody else? I just think everybody did well.
Yeah, you were really inspired by it, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah, and I suppose bag making's not always your... No. I mean, you've done a little bit of it, haven't you?
Only a little bit, yeah.
But, well, we'll come on to, if you want to make your own, because we've got some, I think, pretty close examples. Oh, yeah. So I've got 5 different patterns to show you, one of which is actually out of stock at the minute at Minerva, but it's a really close one. But we have stock arriving, and you can always pre-order on Minerva as well. Yeah. And we'll just send it out to you when it's available. So that one I'll mention first, and it's the arch clutch from Kylie and the Machine patterns. So Kylie and the Machine, who you will know for all the fab little labels that they make. So they started doing printed sewing patterns, paper sewing patterns. Excellent. And the 2 bag making patterns that have just come out, and one of them, we'll insert an image so you can see the pattern. But it's like a fold over. It's got that curved sort of shape, little clutch bag. You could really recreate a look very similar to that last night. And the other one that I think is very similar is the Harrelson. I think that's pronounced, bag from Noodlehead. So this one is similar to the Kylie and the Machine pattern, but it's a little bit more square, sort of and angular. Yeah. And I quite like how they've done it here on the front of the envelope, where they've used like a piece of like leather or faux leather as the bit that folds over. Yeah. And I thought you could use like maybe the quilted fabric, the scrappy.
Fabulous fastening as well.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? But yeah, you could use the quilted fabric perhaps for the main bit of the bag, and then a leather flap over, or a contrasting fabric. The other one we've got is now these are a little bit more different, but I thought they were still quite similar. So this one is from Sew Girl, and it's the quilted crossbody zip up bag. So this is a crossbody bag instead of a clutch, but it's got that rounded shape still. It's got the zip in, and in the pattern you actually get instructions for quilting the fabric.
So there could be some good tips in there. Yeah, I'm not sure because I haven't looked at it, but
I imagine there could be. Yeah, because there's
somebody who hasn't done any of that type of quilting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I imagine doing it this way, you might want to just create a fabric first, and then cut your pattern pieces out of it. That'll be how the instructions are in that.
I think that would have been better.
I do.
All round.
Because as well, if you noticed, near the edges of the bag, they couldn't get the scrapping as evenly distributed as it is in the middle.
That's right.
All the bulk kind of went to the middle, didn't it? Whereas doing it that other way, it wouldn't have happened like that.
Wouldn't have happened,
yeah.
No.
And then another two patterns we've got are from Sally Tomato. And one of them is called the Monroe Modern Clutch and Card Case. So that's a very simple sort of like fold over clutch with like a triangle point.
Yeah.
And you also get that little card case which matches that. I thought was
and
quite
they've
cute.
done there's a strap.
Yeah.
Which would go on them, but at the back of the clutch bag, it looks like there's a strap going along, which
you can put
your hand in.
Yeah, it's quite clever.
And
isn't
it is clever. Yeah, I like that.
And then the other one is called the Fields double wrap belts fanny pack. Again from Sally Tomato, and again I just thought that was very similar in shape to that one last night.
Yeah.
And yeah, Sally Tomato patterns, they specialise in bag making patterns, so they get really good reviews for these patterns, and we do the whole range at Minerva. So yeah, there's loads to choose from if you're interested in bag making patterns.
Excellent.
So then in terms of, you know, if you wanted to actually have a go at making it, now the fabric they used last night was organza fabric, which is, we sell that here at Minerva. This is one of our core ranges. And if I hold that up to camera, that's just one layer. I mean, you can see just how transparent that is. Hopefully that comes across on screen. You'll be able to see me right through that. And it, you know, it just has an ever so slight sort of like frosting to it, doesn't it? So the idea with that is, you know, you would trap your scraps between two layers, and, you know, you don't really see much of the organza. That's kind of the point, that you see all the scraps within it, but it encases everything inside.
I suppose you'll see that sheen though, will
Yes, you would.
That'll look nice, won't it?
And the more kind of stitching you put on there, you know, the more sort of denser fabric it will make. Or if you do, you know, wider lines of quilting, it'll be more puffy. So you can experiment a little bit with how much stitching you want to put on.
I bet it was amazing sewing it though.
Oh yeah, it's very satisfying. Really is. Yeah, and you've got to take it slowly, especially if your scraps are very thick. The amount of needles I've broken in the past doing that. Yeah, so my advice would be take it slowly and try and distribute your scraps as evenly as possible. So that it, you know, you don't end up with like bulky bits that's going to be really hard for your needle to get through.
With the straight lines though, that's where your random one that you did at uni, that's where that came in, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And if you want to have a go,
you didn't need to be straight.
No, you don't. Absolutely, yeah. If you want to have a go at free machine embroidery as well, I mean, you can do it on most machines, I believe, maybe all. I mean, you just need to be able to drop the feed dogs. And ideally, you want a free machine embroidery foot.
That's the one with the little circle on the end,
a little circle or like a semicircle. Some of them. I prefer the circle ones, but that's just personal preference. And what that foot does is, and by dropping the feed dogs, it means your fabric doesn't feed through the machine. So you basically you move the fabric, and in essence you draw in with the needle and thread. It's a beautiful technique, and that way, you know, you would just go wherever, you know, the needle took you, let it be completely random. And it's a very fun technique. It just takes a little bit of getting used to, because, you know, very sort of people that are just used to dressmaking sewing, you know, are used to sewing in straight lines, the fabric feeding through, and you just need to kind of let go a little bit and be more creative with that technique. But it's fun. And then the other product I've got out here, which kind of looks like cling film in a way, a plastic bag, but it isn't. This is called water soluble fabric for machine embroidery. Now this is, I also used this with the technique when I was back at uni, as well as using a fabric like organza. And what this fabric is basically you can stitch onto it, and then as soon as you put that into water, this actually disappears into nothing. So what you can do with this is you could trap the fabric between two layers of this instead of the organza, or you could use a layer of this on top and something else on the bottom. You know, like maybe like a canvas. Maybe like a canvas, or you know, just some regular cotton fabric. It wouldn't need to be anything special. And And that way, you would actually, you wouldn't have a layer of fabric covering all those scraps. You would actually have the texture of it all coming through. The one thing you would have to do with that is quilting lines every so often wouldn't be enough. You'd want to do quite a bit of den stitching on it to hold everything down. So the machine embroidery technique probably comes into its own there. But if you did do lots of straight, close together gridded lines, that would work as well.
Brilliant.
So you've those two options for the fabric. And then for anybody that's maybe thinking, well, I just don't have that many scraps.
I mean, keep them. Or,
definitely this is your sign to keep hold of them scraps, because they always come in for something, don't they? But yeah, if you don't have any scraps, or you just, like to add to that, we do actually sell scrap bags here at Minerva. So we can honestly, absolutely say that not a single scrap of fabric in 26 years at Minerva now has ever gone to waste. So I've got one out here. But bear in mind, these are completely random bags that we sell. So obviously the fabrics that are in this one, won't be exactly the same as what you get. And what the scrap bags are is it's a kilo of fabric. So it's actually, it's quite a bit of fabric is that. And it's all our tiny bits of offcuts. So, when you sort of cutting fabric off rolls, you always get like sort of end bits that maybe aren't quite straight, or you get to an end of a roll and you're just a bit left, things like that. So, it just accumulates in a fabric warehouse as big as ours. So we sell these scrap bags, and they're so popular. They're one of our most popular items. Yeah. So I think we do sell a lot to like textile students.
Maybe there's lots of bag makers out there.
Yeah, maybe lots of people doing this technique. Yeah, we sell lots to people that want to like stuff it. Like stuffed toys and things like that want something weightier. So loads and loads of ways you can use these scraps. But yeah, I think what's nice with these as well, if for people that just want something completely random, that's what you'll get in these bags. And they're really cheap as well.
Yeah.
And the other thing, I thought I'd just mention these as well in case anybody's interested in, trapping other things other than just fabric scraps. These, we also sell scraps of ends of rolls of trimmings. Yeah. So there's ribbons, lace, webbings, bindings, satins, velvets, rick-racks, all the different trims that we sell here at Minerva. When we get to an end of roll, they go into these bags. And again, we sell them really cheap. And you get like a bag full
that could look really good in them bags.
Yeah, that's why I thought I'd mention it. Just a little bit of trim every now and then. It just had an extra dimension to it, wouldn't it? And the other thing I thought we'd mention is we also have remnant bundles that we sell. Yep. Now, so here at Minerva, if we get to say an end of a roll and maybe with like a 1.2 metre piece left or something like that, then rather than those ends kind of being, on shelves in our warehouse, what we like to do is make these remnant packs out of them. Yep. And we sell them for an amazingly cheap price. One, it just helps kind of keep our warehouse, in really sort of immaculate,
tidy.
It's really, that's the word. Yeah, really, really tidy and everything in its place. And as well, it just gives you guys a chance to sample some fabrics at an absolute fraction of the price. Yeah. So, I mean, this, like I said, these are all completely random. So, if you ordered one of these, you wouldn't get these fabrics.
And there are colourways, aren't there? You can get
not colours as such, but we do like a jersey and knit bundle. Right. We do a complete assortment bundle. So that could be absolutely anything in there. Yeah. We do an ex-designer bundle. So in that you'll find, like all the designer fabrics. You might even find some Minerva exclusives. In fact, this is an ex-designer bundle. You might find like Lady McElroy in there, Mind the Maker, Robert Kaufman. Those packs. Those packs are a little bit more expensive because you've got more expensive fabrics in them. But then we also do a summer bundle, a winter bundle. So there's a few different options. But like in this one, you've got a piece of Minerva exclusive fabric. You've got a piece of cotton poplin in there, and I think another cotton as well, and just random prints. The bundles are always 5 meters, and you're guaranteed to get more than one piece, and you're guaranteed that every piece will at least be 0.5 meter or more. So you've always usually got like at least one decent length in there. Like in this one, there's 3 pieces across 5 meters. Yeah. So they're never huge lengths. No, but you might get a a 1, a 1 and a 3 metre,
Yeah.
2 2.5s, a couple of halves and a 4, you know, something like that. So yeah, I just thought, you know, I'd mention those because whilst we're on that kind of like the theme of scraps and remnants and using those sort of things, you can just get a lot of fabric for a really good price in those.
Yes.
So the transformation challenge this week, I mean, really all 3 challenges felt like the transformation challenge this week, didn't they?
They did,
But the transformation one, so they basically had a pile of textile waste, so it's old garments that would otherwise have gone to landfill.
Yeah.
And the idea was to create an outfit out of them, wasn't it? Which wasn't very specific on what they wanted.
No.
It gave them a lot of room.
They just wanted a colour theme, didn't they?
They did, yeah, they were quite clear on that, weren't they? And they said they could take 5 pieces from the pile, which is quite a lot of fabric, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they had an hour and a half to do it again, didn't they? I don't know. I suppose I love the idea of reusing fabrics.
Yeah.
It just felt a little bit like they were cutting up decent stuff to make.
A lot of it was.
Yeah. To like make things that maybe weren't really wearable because they only had an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But that's maybe me being a bit picky, probably. I liked Luke's. I thought they were very ambitious in what they wanted to make.
The sort of a gold bustier.
Yeah. Yeah, and did it have like little sort of like pleats round the top, if I remember rightly? Like a...
No, I think it was like a piece of fabric that came over, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then did one have like a detail
cream
over it? Yeah.
Yes, it might have done.
And then there was like the puffer thing at the bottom, which I suppose made it quite avant-garde.
I wasn't keen on the puffer coat being used, and I thought, you know, that will get a low mark because of that.
Right, well, Esme loved it.
But then Esme come along and loved it, so I thought so much.
I think
for your
she does like she does like more wacky stuff though, I suppose.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think Luke did a good job on that. I was very impressed with how ambitious the project was for an hour and a half.
Yeah, and they did come second.
Oh yes, yeah, which was thoroughly deserved.
I think that was thoroughly deserved.
Yeah, if not first, really, but yeah.
I mean, part of the garment was already there.
But yeah, it was clever to use that.
It was clever to use it. But I mean, you could say with, sorry, just let me look at my notes again. There's still that many in it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Georgie, with the pleated skirt.
Yeah.
I mean, that was basically one garment.
Yeah, I thought she was going to get pulled up a bit on that.
Yeah, I did. But then I realised that she'd use the waistband off a pair of jeans.
Yeah, I liked that bit, yeah.
But I think that was it.
I think if that garment had been on a model and you could have seen like that sleeve detail, it probably would have sold it a bit more.
Yes, if the arm had been out.
Yeah, exactly. But kind of hung on a mannequin, it didn't read that as much.
No.
I did like Lauren's pink dress. I really like Lauren. I think she's coming. She's really funny, isn't she? Yeah.
I do like her.
I think her and the presenter, Keel, they've got like a really good like banter, haven't they, back and forth? Yeah. But yeah, I thought because hers had all the cutout details, different shades of pink, and I thought it had just like a really good balance to it.
Yeah, it had like a little buckle going from top to the skirt bit, didn't it?
Yeah, I thought that was really good. I thought Susie's like little crop top and the little wrap skirt she did in yellow fabric. It's quite cute. It was quite fun and flirty, summery.
Very summery. Yeah. Very nice.
Very her, I think.
Very her. Yeah.
And I felt good. I felt better for her because she knew she'd done better in that challenge. She seemed to like it gave her a boost, didn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll leave Pasha's till last.
Okay.
She got first.
She didn't she? Yeah.
Dons, the red checks. And I thought it were unfair of Esme to say, shall we call it reds, or words to that effect.
Yeah.
And I thought, it is reds.
Yeah. And I mean,
all that sort of red.
But the sort of detail he did at the back, like I remember Comfort in an earlier episode got like rated really highly for doing something like that, and they said about his that it hadn't changed enough.
Yeah.
I guess they're just looking for wacky in this, aren't they? And I don't think Don wasn't a wacky type sewer, was it? But I thought it was better than what they kind of give it credit for.
I do, definitely,
Marcus's, now he came last, didn't it? And I think a lot of that because he didn't stick to a very obvious colour palette. Now I know it's a very unusual mix of colours, but I actually liked it. Yeah, I knew you'd like it, yeah.
Yeah, I love the orange, the brown, the gold.
It was
what
very...
What colours were there?
Like browns, caramels, ginger kind of colours. It was very, I don't know what the word is, but earthy, unusual. I don't know, you could see it in a really like high-end, very cool person's kind of shop.
I really, and you know, I mean, I know they all could do with probably more time to be, so that the garments could be sewn a bit better.
Yeah.
But I do think, you know, the garment he chose, which were like a boxy jacket, just looked great.
I agree with you on that one. And then should we talk about Pasha's?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a really good outfit. I think it had a very clear like vision. She was going for that kind of, what do you call it, the Dracula dress.
She sort of knew from the word go.
She
had that vision, didn't she? Yeah.
I thought it was a deserved winner.
The braids at the side.
Yeah, they were nice, weren't they? For me, I think it was all about like the shape of that sort of corsetish.
That was the one that sort of went in like that. Yeah. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, very clever. Yeah. So I think there was some good stuff there. I think it's just maybe me with the transformation challenge. I just kind of want to see things finished a bit better. But I get that, you know, if everybody finished everything, it'd be a boring programme, wouldn't it? So they've got to meet somewhere in the middle, haven't they? So finally, then we had the made to measure challenge. I don't know how I felt about this challenge, and because they had to cut up a wedding dress and make, well, it was a party outfit, so that gave them quite a bit of free scope for different things, didn't it? Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to see, I guess, wedding dresses just, you know, being sent to landfill, or, you know, I guess, I say being unused, but I'm very, very happy to have my wedding dress in my wardrobe at home not being used. It's not about it being used, it's about being a memory and a treasure of that wonderful day.
And a labour of love. Yeah,
because me and my mum made my wedding dress. I mean, you did the bulk on it, I did like the more embellishment details.
You did, yeah.
And I couldn't in a million years even start to imagine cutting that up. No, but perhaps it's because it's so special because we made it. Perhaps that's the difference.
But even with that at one side, it's still your wedding dress,
yeah,
isn't it?
I guess people have different emotional attachments to things, and maybe some people, you know, just hate to kind of see it in the wardrobe, collecting dust in a way, and want to make something with it. But it wouldn't be for me.
No, no. I still have mine.
Do you? Yeah, I know you do, don't you? Yeah.
It's about that wide at the waist.
I look at mine and think, I won't fit in that now. What the challenge that they had last night, so they sourced their own wedding dress.
Mm-hmm. Quite a few got them from second-hand shops.
I think there was Marcus that used his wife's. There's a lot of responsibility, isn't it? And so at home they were able to kind of deconstruct the dress and get it ready to be sewn, and they were also allowed to like paint it or dye it and do things to the fabric, weren't they? So I quite liked that element, like giving them an element of time to prep,
because the time at the studio was spent sewing then.
Yeah, and they had 4.5 hours, didn't they?
So cutting out and sewing, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's still tight, isn't it?
Very much.
And I know they said they were looking for a complete transformation, didn't they? So I suppose that's similar to the transformation challenge in that they didn't want to see a slightly different version of a wedding dress. They wanted something different, didn't they? Which I think is fair enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's like the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I noticed that Esme said she wanted them to use their imagination with colour. So I suppose she didn't want to see like 8 or however many, ivory party dresses walking down the aisle.
Exactly, yeah.
So what did you think then? I thought that was an extremely difficult challenge. I think I would have struggled with that.
I do.
Unless
definitely.
like inspiration struck, but
I thought Luke's was very, very designer looking.
Yeah, so that was the pink big shoulder pads.
Big shoulders.
I like how they said it was inspired by their mum. and like the 80s, and she would have loved it.
Yes.
I thought that was a nice touch.
And I love the fact that they'd put interfacing in.
Yeah, held
so
that
it
structure,
held
didn't
it.
It
held it there, and I loved how it was cut out here.
Yes, yeah, and it had the silver bits, the silver fabric, didn't it?
But I did agree with Patrick when he said it should
have been a bit more fitted. Yeah.
That just spoiled it a little bit. But the whole concept was fab.
And I do think Luke's possibly out of everyone's. I mean, it was such a transformation from a wedding dress, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, like, really game points for that, definitely.
Yeah.
Lauren's next.
Lauren's pink again.
Yeah.
She
loved pink through that.
She did. She did. I loved it with that, like what do they call them? Puffball skirt. But what I liked was the fact that she'd use that. She'd actually hand sewn the ruches on the puffball skirt bit. Hard to say that. But then I loved how she'd use the ruches off the dress.
On that, like,
to make the bodice bit and the top bit. I did love it. Was it her? Oh no, I'm getting mistaken there. I was going to say, was it hers where the lining was showing?
Oh yes, I think it was, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, that was the one thing they picked up on it.
No, it was hers. Yeah. So
I think could she have won it if it weren't for that?
Quite possibly.
I think so. It was a good one, wasn't it?
The front of it, when the model was walking down, I just thought, look.
It's very effective, and again, a very big transformation.
Big transformation. Yeah. Who have we got next? Marcus.
Yeah, that was. I felt for him. I don't think he quite had the vision that I'm imagining he probably intended for.
He just doesn't seem to have had his week yet.
No, he doesn't, does he?
He's got another chance next week.
I mean, it's possibly the editing, but I almost felt like he kind of maybe went into it a bit down because he hadn't done as well in the other two challenges, and maybe that affected him a bit. But I mean, kudos to his wife for allowing him to cut into that dress.
The waistcoat actually looked reasonably. I thought they were being very picky over picking something on the points here.
I thought that was,
But unfortunately the pants turned out big, hadn't they? And
he had to, like, pleat them in,
and he said that to Esme, and he said, so I had to put some tucks in it, and she went, darts. And I felt like saying, well, if you'd given more time, he would have put some darts in.
And it was probably quite a lot of fabric to take away in a dart. Like,
and
I don't know if the darts would have worked.
Because there was like a waistband there. So the whole tuck was the waistband and the fabric.
Yeah, exactly. The waistband would have had to have been smaller, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Or as it was, he would have had to have unpicked the waistband. Put the dart in.
Who has time to do that in 4.5 hours?
Make the waistband smaller, re-sew it back on. I mean, it was impossible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
what do you think of Ailsa's?
Ailsa's now.
I actually really liked the look.
I wasn't.
Oh, you're not? No, I thought it was very cool. But I do agree that more of the hardware should have been on the outside.
Yes.
And it felt very her to me.
Because I didn't see that at start.
Oh, did you not? No. Yeah. I think if it had a bit of more like black leather in it and more chunky hardware, it would have felt a bit more edgy. And I think just because the tulle fabric covered it, it just missed a trick,
took something away from it.
But I thought her idea, I could see where she was going with it. And I could imagine that on a catwalk somewhere looking, fabulous.
And if it had been in black, if she'd have gone a bit of a gothic look,
that would have transformed it.
That would have transformed it.
Because they did pick up that it still very much had a feeling of a wedding dress, and it's, I guess that's fair enough. But if that was in black, would they wouldn't have said that, would they?
No. So just worth a thought, that one. So Pasha's the black dress with the blue bow. I loved it.
I mean, I think compared to some of the others, like, it didn't feel as I guess as wacky, but I mean, I would wear that dress.
Absolutely.
I loved it. The blue bow on one shoulder.
And the way it hung down.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I mean, she didn't get to hem it, did she? But that was the only thing you could say about
obviously,
it, wasn't it? Cost her down.
It cost her,
I love all the experimental stuff, but I do really love to see things that I think like, oh, either I could imagine wearing that, or I could see my mum in that, or such a body. You know, I want to see things that people would actually wear as well. Yeah. And I think there was like not as much of that in last night's episode. So to see her dress, I was like, yes, you know, I really liked that one. Yeah.
I think hers and the pink one,
Lauren's.
Yeah. They were the two very wearable.
Yeah.
Weren't they?
I agree. Yeah.
Don's.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought Toy's done a good job.
Yeah. I do agree though that the ruching needed to be higher. It felt unbalanced, didn't it? But he knew that. That was the plan.
Yeah.
And again, it was only really that let it down. Otherwise, it looked pretty well sewn, I think.
Yeah. Because I presume that the whole of the front of the dress were the diamantes and that were. I presume that was the original bodice of the dress.
Yeah.
And I thought they would have mentioned that. But they didn't.
Yeah. Well, not in the edit anyway.
Well, not in the edit, that's true.
Georgie's. So she chose, it was a beaded fabric, wasn't it? You know, as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh no, because you can't sew over beads. You've got to pick the beads out of your seam allowance. Like, have you time for that in 4.5 hours? And it didn't work, did it? I felt really sorry for her because she's made some really good stuff. I really like Georgie, but last night wasn't her night,
like Georgie. But I have to be honest and say it was my least favourite.
Yeah, I'd probably agree, I think, and I felt like watching the episode last night, I felt like she was almost like digging a deeper hole. She couldn't seem to get out of it, could she?
Yeah.
It was like this went wrong and then that went wrong and that the fit issues.
Just everything, wasn't it?
We'll move on from that, Georgie, and go on to next week's.
So, Alex.
Yeah.
With the hand painted.
I loved it.
Flowing.
Big poofy sleeves.
Yeah.
And the outfit she meant to go under it.
I know, I know, because she was sewing them at the beginning, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And then went on to the flowing top. And just at first sight, coming down towards the camera, I forgot about the shorts and everything.
Yeah. And they did comment, didn't they, saying, we've done all that work and we can't see it. But it was a sheer dress. I mean, she had to have something under it, didn't she?
Yes.
So it's fair enough she made it. But I loved how she'd hand painted that fabric. Oh, beautiful. I loved it. I loved the big puffy sleeves. I loved like the oversized nature of it. I just thought it was fabulous.
It reminded me, not colour-wise, but it reminded me of our brushstrokes fabric.
The design. Really big sort of expressive kind of colours. I thought it was fabulous, and I thought a well-deserved winner. Some close second up, but I agreed with Garden of the Week.
I mean, it could be said Susie's was a contender.
Yeah,
I love the printing.
Yeah, and she, did you remember she said at the beginning, like, she painted it pink and then she was like, oh no, it feels too girly, so she added the black, and I think that was a good move.
Oh, right.
I think it would have been a bit like wishy-washy without the black.
I must have missed that bit, and I've watched it twice, so I must have missed it.
It made me laugh at the end though when she said, like, oh, it just covers your bum. But he did, so it's fine. But it felt
she said she was going to wear it on her hen do.
Yeah, I love that, But it felt very her, didn't it? Very fun, very girly, very bit flirty for a hen do. And it was just a shame about that hole, but she can soon fix that, can't she?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think, is that everyone?
That's everyone. Yeah.
So I think a very wide range of outfits there, wasn't there? Now, in terms of, like, obviously every week we pick our, like, what would we have made? But it was a bit difficult this week because it was a wedding dress, wasn't it? And I wasn't even going to contemplate the thought of cutting my dress off.
I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have.
So we thought, I
suppose in a way though, nobody cut their own up, did they?
No, they
didn't. The nearest
did they?
Was Marcus cutting his wife's up.
Yeah.
And she had given him permission.
Yeah, I think that's a good move when you're rushing to make something in 4.5 hours, using somebody else's that you've no emotional attachment to.
Yeah. Definitely.
But for our picks, so what we've done is
Can I just say?
Oh, yeah.
Just going back to Alex, we didn't mention her on the transformation round.
Right.
And I did want to say about that she did the burgundy leather top.
Oh, yeah.
And the puffer skirt.
The puffer skirt. That was amazing, wasn't it?
When I saw, I mean, unlike with Luke, I saw that she'd got the burgundy puffer jacket.
Yeah.
Coat. And I thought, oh my goodness, what is she going to do with that?
That skirt was amazing, wasn't it? I
I
can't believe we forgot to mention that.
I just saw it then on my notes.
Yeah, you know, and that might have actually been Luke's dress, but that as well, and Pasha's top bit. But that skirt could have been a winner for me. Yeah.
So that's my bit.
Yeah.
I've said my bit.
So back onto fabrics then. So we've chose some fabrics from our, because we have a very extensive bridal collection of fabrics here at Minerva, don't we? Right from sort of like the more budget end satins through to, you know, with laces, all different types of satins, embroidered fabrics, the more couture end. We even have a hand painted fabric. So whatever your budget, if you're looking to make something for a wedding, or you just want a really special fabric for an occasion gown, we have the most fabulous range here at Minerva. So we kind of saw it as an excuse to show some of these off, really, didn't we? And kind of imagine what we would make out of them.
And they sort of all tie in with the programme a little bit, don't they?
Exactly. So we've got a few examples of different fabrics, haven't we? So this is like our more budget end satin, and I thought this could be very, you know, it's very similar to what actually a lot of wedding gowns are made out of. You know, not every wedding gown is made out of pure silk, even though they charge a fortune for them.
Absolutely.
And yes, that comes in like a gazillion colours. So there's loads you could do with a fabric like that.
It hangs so nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's got a little bit of body, hasn't it?
Just that bit. Yeah.
So there's
by the time you got a lining in that.
Yeah, it will be structured enough for it and heavy enough. Then we've got so this is a corded lace fabric. This is the ivory colour, but again we've got, I think this one's really lovely in black, and the red colour in this I really like. So again, lots of different colours in it, but you can hopefully see that on camera, you know, a really
lovely edging, and I think it's on both sides.
It is, scalloped edging. I mean, using that on like a sleeve or the hem along the bottom of a skirt. Yeah,
you could, you know, if it was something that was a little boxy, like a little jacket or something, or a crop top,
or like use it along like a neckline, you know, like on a V-neck or something.
You could cut that off and actually, like you say, use it there.
Yeah. So that's a nice example, and again, that's, you know, it's not an expensive fabric; it's more at the cheaper end, but a really lovely one.
Yeah.
Then we've got tulle. Now we've all different types of netting and tulle, but this one is actually our most luxurious one. This is our Italian soft tulle, and it really is strokeably soft for a mesh net fabric.
For a mesh,
it's just fabulous. And I mean, obviously we have
sewn
this
in anything like that,
and it soft.
I've used netting for veils and things,
but this, I mean, this is just for beautiful. A veil. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I chose this colour just because I love teals, but this fabric comes in so many colours and quite unusual colours as well. So that's, you can have lots of fun with that kind of fabric.
Absolutely.
Then this fabric we've got, this is our crepe back satin fabric. So this is the ivory colour, but we've there's a few colours in this. This is very much aimed at like the bridal kind of market, but with this one, the weight of it and that drape is just incredible. So if you wanted to make something with you know, gathers, folds, pleats, ruffles, any sort of details like that, it's just gorgeous. And I think the weight makes it feel very expensive. But you know, you could just imagine like even like a mother of the bride outfit, like even just a very simple shift dress with a very simple jacket over it. It would be so classy, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
So they're like some of our, you know, just a sprinkling of some of the bridal fabrics we do, but we've got, these are the fabrics we've chosen, aren't they? And they are the higher end of the price point in the bridal collection. But wow, are these special fabrics? I mean, these are something you would make, you know, for a wedding day or for a really special occasion, aren't they? Do you want to talk about yours first, Mum?
Well, I mean, so
this one is called our Julianne lace.
The very, very top end, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it is stunning.
Let's hold it out, and then, I mean, it's just
look at that.
Oh wow, look at this. Sorry,
no, you go on.
I was going to say, all these flowers you can see are all 3D flowers that are stitched on. You can hopefully kind of see. And if you just hold it up that side, Mum, and I'll hold it up this side, you can hopefully see how it kind of works across the fabric. So the selve edges are heavier.
Yeah, double edgings again.
And double edgings, yes. You've got that gorgeous selve edge. And then if you look in the fabric, you've got little pearl beads, little seed beads in there, bugle beads, an odd sequin. I mean, it's just incredible fabric, isn't it? I mean, how a machine makes something like this, I have no idea.
My first thoughts with it,
Go on, yeah.
If I'd have been making a wedding dress, then you know that there's going to be a lot of work in it.
That's not a 4.5-hour project.
But trying to think of something for a party,
yeah,
I immediately thought of, it was just a photo I saw in a magazine the other week.
Right.
And somebody had made like a blouse-on jacket in lace.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, that would look amazing as sort of a blouse on. Maybe not a zip front. I mean, maybe it could just be opened to there.
Yeah.
And then a satin maybe that.
Yeah.
To use for so it bloused inwards like on a band for your waist.
Yeah.
You could do that on the sleeves, although I would be reluctant to do that because I'd want to use that edging.
That selve edge,
That edging maybe you could put down there.
Yeah, or even round the hem.
Yeah.
You could just choose where you used it.
And then, I mean, you wouldn't start trying to put a collar on or anything
No,
unless you did
I don't
it
think
in
it would
this.
need. You want something very simple in this, wouldn't you? Yeah.
And so I would finish that off at waist level or just a little bit below, and then maybe a long, like a maxi skirt in black or even tulle.
Yeah. The teal, not
teal. Or some like wide trousers, palazzo trouser, and maybe just a little simple vest top underneath.
Yeah.
You could do a white one, so it would cover...
I was just going to say with the fabric, would you use it as is or would you dye the fabric?
Oh.
Because, well, I'll come on to that. We've actually, we stock as well at Minerva a whole range of dyes and fabric paints, which we thought we'd mention, obviously, because they used them last night. And with this fabric, so we do predominantly 3 different types of dye. So the RIT branded dye, there's a dye for natural fibres and a dye for synthetics. So you could use the synthetic dye on this one.
Yeah.
So it could become any colour you wanted,
yeah.
couldn't it?
I think what might happen with dyeing it would be you would say you did it in an orange or a teal, you would get different shades of orange.
Yeah, because every fabric...
it would all dye different.
Yeah.
But that could look absolutely amazing.
I mean, I even like the idea of dyeing it black.
Oh, yeah.
Because you might get like shades of greys and I mean, you could really experiment. I mean, you'd want to test a bit on this fabric first, wouldn't you? But I thought you might like the idea of changing the colour.
But I think that's the style. The style I'd use. Alternatively, you could just do an edge to edge, maybe hip length jacket.
Yeah.
But I think a little blouse on one would have a little bit more edge to it.
Yeah.
Pizzazz. Pizzazz.
So, well, with my fabric, so I'll just mention first, you'll see where I'm going with this.
We said that with mine, didn't we?
You did, yes. So yeah, we've mentioned those 2 dyes. We've also got the Dye-Lon Pont as well, which that's actually a dye that you use in your machine, which we've used these tons over the years.
I've never used the
I have, but more from like brushing onto fabric.
Right.
Rather than immersing the whole fabric.
Right.
Now I wouldn't put that fabric anywhere near a washing machine, so you know you'd use that in a bucket as opposed to a machine, or just use the RIT dye, wouldn't you?
Right. Yeah.
And then the other thing to mention as well are these really fun fabric paints that we sell. So we do little pots of paint that's the type that you would apply with a brush.
Yeah.
And then we do these little tubes that are like a little pen. So you kind of like you squeeze them and they draw out in a line. So you could like draw with them. And it's like a thicker paint, so it stands up a bit.
And can you still mix that?
Oh yeah.
Like
So I mean, there's a lot of colours in both of these, but you can mix both of them.
Yeah.
To create, if you mixed
if you wanted
black and white,
shading on a flower or something, you could.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I think having all these dyes and paints opens you up to be very creative and create really a truly unique one of a kind. However, the fabric I've chosen, which now I've actually got it in my hand, I'm really wanting to make something out of it because it's so beautiful. So this is our Posy organza fabric. Oh. If I hold this out, this is actually a hand-painted organza. Oh. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Yeah. I mean, it literally is a work of art on fabric. Yeah. And
you're not going to see the true beauty of it on camera.
No, it's... you can tell it's hand-painted. It's, so every one of these little bunches of flowers is ever so slightly different. And on the centre of each of the flowers is a little pearl bead that's been sewn on. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? It is. And I think you can tell I was very inspired by Alex's dress last night, because I think I would make something with puff sleeves, something quite full, and would wear something underneath, because obviously this is a transparent fabric with it being organza. But I think it'd be a very feminine, girly, very pretty dress.
So something very, like you said, very floaty.
Yes, very airy and breezy, and I think it'd just be absolutely stunning. And those hand painted flowers on them.
And all those beads are actually hand sewn on.
Yes, they are.
Well, I'm saying hand sewn. I mean,
they're sewn on. Yeah,
they're sewn on.
There's no glue anywhere near this fabric.
How
they create a fabric like this.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's stunning, isn't it? So I think we've chosen very different fabrics, haven't we?
We have.
But they all come from that sort of bridal category, I guess, don't they?
You could imagine bridesmaids in this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, imagine a little flower girl as
well. Yeah.
I want to get married again now, so I can do that. So, that's our choices. I really enjoyed that episode last night, though. I think if I'm honest, I was going into it thinking, am I going to like this week? Because it's basically 3 transformation challenges. Yeah. But every year with reuse, recycle, refashion? Maybe in a different order.
Something like that.
Yeah. Every week when they do that theme, I'm always pleasantly surprised. So I always think I should give it more of a chance.
Yeah.
And you loved it.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So that's everything for this week. Next week, just to mention actually, next week it's actually on BBC 2 instead of BBC 1.
Because of that.
It's because of the football. If you want to watch next week, don't forget to watch on BBC 2.
Yeah.
So next week is India week, isn't it? And they've got a special guest, which I really liked that edition last year.
Well, I remember thinking, I'm not looking forward to this one, and ended up thoroughly enjoying it.
I was just the same. I didn't really know what to expect.
No, I didn't.
And I'm a little bit like that this week. I think it's going to be. It's just going to be something different, and I'm intrigued to see what they all make. So I think they've got to make a jacket popularised by the first Prime Minister of India, so that's for the pattern challenge. So I don't know much about that, so I'm really intrigued to learn. The transformation challenge, they've got to make an outfit from 2 fabrics that originate from India. I like that. It's the fabric
like that's batiks and things like that.
I think like Madras cottons. Different cottons especially, but Madras cotton I think they mentioned.
Right.
And then the made to measure, they've got to create evening wear taking inspiration from elements of a sari.
Oh.
And you can get beautiful fabrics in saris, can't you? So that could be really fancy and really special, couldn't it? So we'll soon find out next week, won't we?
Next week, yeah.
So thanks everyone for watching this week. We really hope you enjoyed that. Let us know in the comments. Did you agree with Garment of the Week? Did you agree with who went home? Just let us know your thoughts on last night's episode. And we'll be back again next week with more Swimby Chat.